The first few months are key to nurturing their growth.
Doesn't he look at him there with his little baby? This morning we're looking at some activities to help everything from children's reflexes to their vision, and child development expert and founder of Cognikids, Ollwyn Moran, joins us now with her just divine niece, Hazel. Hazel's back again, our little star. She's a dote. Hello, Hazel. So, right, when it comes to, we're going to talk about head control first, because Hazel's what? Is she 12, 13 weeks?
She's just turned 16 weeks today.
16 weeks.
Wow.
Hello, 16 weeks. So head control, when are they starting, or baby starting?
Super important. So you can see that Hazel's head control has really come in comparison to a newborn. So newborns, you know, the weight of their head is actually almost heavier than their body nearly, because they just haven't got those muscles in the head, the neck and the shoulders, you know, developed enough that they can actually control their head. So
early stage, is it important to try and get that strength in?
It is. And there's a really lovely little activity. Now, pop you down here, Papa. A really lovely little activity that you can do with little ones to actually help develop their head control, and also what it also helps is it helps develop their neck muscles, and it also means that it's you can use it from newborn, so it helps develop their vision as well and the tracking. So I'll show you now. Here's a little toy that we have. So hold it nice and close to baby so they can fixate. And you can see she's really fixating on that now, her hands. But then you can move it then very gently side to side, and their head will actually follow this as well. So you can see her head turn there like that. So the beauty of this is it can be done from newborn, but it also then helps in preventing torticollis and plagiocephaly. So torticollis is where the neck tightens on one side, so they favour their head tilting to one side, and it's really important that that actually doesn't happen. So this is something that's a really lovely little activity that can actually help prevent that, because you're rotating the head and the neck and stretching out those muscles on either side. So the birthing process is actually quite a complicated process for little ones. And they can often, you know, they can be stuck in the birthing canal for hours on end. So imagine if you were kind of sitting like that, you would actually end up with a creak in your neck. So this is a really lovely activity that you can actually do to help them from newborn, not for very long, just, you know, kind of like in their wake moments, maybe when you just before you pick them up.
We had a mat that, but it had all those like noise making things and lights, and so it's important not to keep them in there all the time, I would imagine. Do you know what I mean? Like to do
sitting there going back to when his baby
to actually do exercises like that, even at that young age.
So it's just adding purpose to kind of their wake time, because a lot of new parents don't really know what to do with a newborn. It's just survival mode.
Yeah, you're not sleeping, you're not getting any response back. I mean, those first 3 months are difficult.
Absolutely. And also they're the most key in things like torticollis and plagiocephaly. So plagiocephaly is, we'd otherwise know it as flathead syndrome. And between 0 to 3 is actually the time that if you can catch it in that time period, you have much better outcomes. So, you know, just through
So how would you catch it?
So if you notice side, you know, kind of like maybe the hair, a little balding patch coming on one side of the head, or baby constantly sitting with their head to one side, and they'll always feed to one side and they'll sleep to one side, and if you hold them up, their head is to one side.
We had a pillow that kind of made, I think it was Emma first, so we always kept it in the middle. But that, I think maybe was because
you could actually cause flattening at the back of the head.
So it's like a gap in the back that kind of.
Oh right, okay, yes, So the ideal is that actually free rotation, free movement. So
can that have long-term effects?
It absolutely can, yes. So it's really important if you can kind of get that sorted out. And if you do notice something like that, definitely contact your GP, public health nurse, or a paediatric physiotherapist, or an occupational therapist. And definitely something that I'm a big advocate for is cranial osteopathy. So very early on, even kind of 4 or 5 weeks of age, go to a cranial osteopath, and they'll just have a little kind of check to make sure that there's no little kinks.
And that everything's, because we've seen it with spines on babies because of the birthing technique that it can be, and when it clicks into place, the relief they have is unbelievable.
And it's so gentle, you wouldn't even know it. You know, it's just like they look like as if they're just putting their hands on baby. Anyway, let's move on.
We have to move on because we're getting distracted already. Now, something that's good for bedtime is baby massage.
Baby massage, yeah, absolutely. It is great for bedtime, isn't it? So ideal time for a baby massage is maybe after the bath, where your little one is nice and relaxed. They've had their feed before their bath, so they're chilled out. all hands are warm, and then just really, you know, kind of like working on one side, obviously at a time. You do nice little massages, don't you? Nice little massages, and it really relaxes them, helps map their bodies. So they don't forget, they don't know that these little hands and fingers actually belong to them.
They haven't a clue.
And these toes belong to them. But there's a beautiful little technique also in baby massage for if your little one has a windy tummy or you feel that they're kind of suffering a little bit after a feed. So if you go up, the ascending colon, across the transverse and down the descending. So it's literally like an inverted U.
Yeah,
almost.
so left to right.
So you go, so up on the right, actually.
Oh, sorry.
The right is your ascending, your descending, and your transverse colon. So if you go up to the right and across and down.
Can I ask you, Ollwyn, when do you bring in tummy time? Because that's something I would have thought at this early age would be too early, no?
No, absolutely not. So tummy time, super early, you know, kind of like obviously give yourself, you know, a week or 10 days or something like that to adjust, but definitely you can start it that early.
Oh, right.
And just on the floor like this?
It can be on the floor. You can pop them on the bed, if you feel like this is a bit, you know,
they
kind of...
They can't really lift their heads so at that stage.
But that's the whole point of it.
Okay.
So if you put them down and then you lie down kind of facing them, so your face is facing them, and a lot of babies don't like it because they can't see you. And then they panic, and then parents think, oh my God, they don't like tummy time. But it's just actually at this stage, they don't have the cognition to understand out of sight, but still there.
Gotcha.
So this is out of sight, I'm on my own. What's happening? And don't forget as well, they're dealing with everything is new, gravity, the whole works. So if you can try to minimize the things like that, so at least if you're facing them, they'll start the tummy time.
I just
and then
think exactly
progress.
like you said, in that early stages when it is your first and they start crying, you kind of just think, oh, they don't like it, it's too early to do it. But actually you're saying it's good to actually build up the strength in the neck and so many different things.
Absolutely critical. And you can even just do it, you know, during a nappy change or something like that, you know. But then also not just tummy time. Somebody's getting sleepy. Not just tummy time, if you can actually allow them free floor play time like this. So there's a reflex that helps them in the birthing canal called the spinal galant reflex. And it's triggered basically when there's pressure put down either side of the spine. And what the response is, the hips tilt. So imagine as the birthing contractions are happening going down the birthing canal, it triggers this. So it actually helps them to shimmy their way, get down. But this reflex should be gone definitely by the age of 12 months of age. So floor play will actually help them.
There you go.
But if it's retained beyond the age of 5, it can actually be a cause of bedwetting at night. It can also be a cause of, you know, where they don't like tags in the back of their clothes and things like that.
All issues like that.
So all of this sort of thing.
We got through about half the things we had to get through. So this child development series, it's already doubled in time. It's going to be going on all year by the time we get to it.
Badly needed. A lot of people really interested in it as well.
And plus we get to see Hazel as she grows up.
Hazel, exactly.
Ollwyn Moran, child development expert and founder of Cognikids. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thank you, Hazel.